Welcome to this month's edition of RTO Insights, brought to you by APRO, the Association of Progressive Rental Organizations, the National Trade Association for the Rent-to-Own Industry, and sponsored by Rent Direct, a division of Nationwide, the nation's largest TV appliance and furniture retail buying group. The topic for this episode of RTO Insights is a motto that comes from Rentway, where they wanted all of their customers and employees to feel welcome, wanted, and important. I liked that motto when I very first heard it, and here 30 years later I still like it a lot. I'm borrowing that from Rentway. I'm purloining it, if you will. I don't think that Bill Morgenstern will mind. I do want to say a word or two about Bill Morgenstern, who was the founder and chief shareholder of Rentway for years and years and years. I just ran into Bill lately in Oklahoma. We were both speaking at the Oklahoma Rental Dealers Association. Bill drew a huge crowd because he was a very popular rental dealer back in the day. And he talked about the things that he'd been up to since he left the RTO industry back in the early 2000s. Among other things, he started a discount real estate company in North Carolina. He started a franchise for hot dog and sausage fast food restaurants in North Carolina. He worked with a company making microloans in Africa and Indonesia. These are $10 to $20 loans to the poorest of poor people in the world to give them a leg up in life and to help stave off starvation. He is currently running a national software company out of Ohio, where he's living. As I mentioned, Bill had a long history in the RTO business. He started Rentway in the mid-'80s. He took it public early on when there were maybe 14 stores in the company. He once told me that he intended to make Rentway the Avis of the RTO industry behind Rent-A-Center's Hertz. In 1994, he had 40 stores. 2 years later, in 96, he had 108. 2 years later, he had 405. And then 1 year later, in 1999, he had 1,114 stores in the Rentway chain. It was in 2000 that the bottom fell out. There was a financial scandal, some of you may remember. Employees in the company had cooked the books. This is a publicly traded company, and caused the stock to crater. None of it was Bill's doing. That's not just Bill's story. That's also the story of the internal auditors, the Securities and Exchange Commission, as well as the FBI, all of whom investigated the company to find out who had cooked the books. It wasn't Bill. It was nonetheless heartbreaking for Bill, as it would be for anyone, and he sold the company shortly thereafter. He moved from Erie, Pennsylvania, where the Rentway was founded and where the corporate offices were, right on the edge of Lake Erie, and he moved to North Carolina. Let's go back and talk a little bit about that motto, making customers, mainly customers, but also employees, feel welcome, wanted, and important. Making customers feel welcome means, to me at least, that you have clean, modern showrooms, you have well-trained employees, and you pay attention to your customers. You do not, when a customer comes into the door, yawn and mutter, "Hello, anonymous rental customers, go over there and leave me alone and make another payment." Instead, it's, "Hello, John, I'm really glad to see you again. You're always right here on time. We really appreciate you taking the time to come in and do business with us. We know you don't have to, and we just want to thank you." That's what making somebody feel welcome. That's what it means to me. And oh, by the way, John, I would love if you got time to go show you some of the new stuff that we've just gotten into the store. How about wanted? It's not exactly the same thing. You want customers, of course, the more the merrier. You not only want them to begin with, you want them week after week, and even when they give the TV set back because they've fallen on hard times or their circumstances change, later on when they get back on their feet, you want them back. That's what being wanted means. I want to contrast that sentiment that we have in the RTO business with how some of my buy here, pay here car guys feel about their customers. In the RTO business, we want to rent TVs we want to rent a TV to everybody that walks in the door unless they prove themselves to be liars, cheaters, or stealers. That the old saying is still true in our business, fog a mirror, get a TV. Not so in the buy here, pay here car business. They have lots of shoppers on a good lot. In a given month, they'll have 300 people that come, every one of whom wants to buy a car. They will sift sand, as they call it, and pick the 50 or 60 best customers and rent to them. That means that they're only taking 20% of the customers that want to buy a car and doing business with them. They're trying to pick the cream of the crop. Even so, the default rate in the buy here, pay here world is 50%. They're having to repossess 50% of the cars. So when I was explaining to my buy here, pay here car guys how we do business in the RTO world and how we like to keep touch with our former customers, the ones that have given back TVs, because we still love them and we want them to come back when they can, I asked the car guys, how do you feel about customers whose cars have been repossessed? And they said, we hate them, we hope they die. Now, in these humorless, politically correct days, I have to tell you that he was just kidding. He doesn't really want those people to die, but he doesn't want them back. He doesn't want to do business with them again. RTO customers are as wanted to begin with, and they're re-wanted time and time again. That's the nature of our business. And in fact, we keep in contact as best we are able with former customers, customers who have given back TVs, and maybe they're even a few weeks behind on rental payments. But if we can get them back in the door, we want to keep doing business with them. That's what wanted means in the RTO business. And finally, we want our customers to feel important. Well, everybody wants to feel important. Everybody's not important, but everybody wants to feel important. That's why we have 10 million selfies being taken every day. People putting the sticks out and taking pictures of themselves because it makes them feel important. Like me doing these videos, I guess. I saw pictures of Obama taking selfies. Now, you would think being President of the United States and leader of the free world, that would be important enough, but apparently not. So, making someone feel important is akin to the tagline of all these videos, and that is make them feel like, treat them like royalty. We have to look at Great Britain for real royalty. We don't have royalty in this country. It's why we revolted in 1776, because we didn't want royalty. We wanted everybody to be created equal, and so they are. The closest we have to royalty in this country are movie and reality TV stars. I can only hope that you are treating your customers better than the real housewives of whatever city treat one another. And if that's what goes for royalty in this country these days, we're in worse trouble than I thought. First time I heard that motto, treat your customers, we want you to feel welcome, wanted, and important. Same for employees. I thought it was a good motto. I still think it's a good motto. I would invite you all to take those words and incorporate them into your businesses, make them part of your company culture. And remember, treat your customers like royalty. They deserve it.